not for sentimental reasons, not because it's a nice idea, and so on, but out of economic necessity. Capitalism, Marx explained this 150 years ago in the Communist Manifesto, the most modern of all documents, by the way, explained that capitalism develops as a world system, as a world economy, as a world market, to which all national markets are necessarily subordinate. And therefore the workers of Pakistan, of Russia, of China, of Britain, of Venezuela, of the United States are faced with a common enemy which crosses all frontiers, which is the big capitalist companies, imperialism. It's a world system, and therefore our response also must be international. Incidentally, Marx, Engels, Lenin, Trotsky, all the great revolutionaries of the past always strove to build an international organization, which unfortunately today does not exist. And therefore, when President Chavez calls for the setting up of a new international, the fifth international, as he calls it, it is an appeal which certainly I would support 100%, and I would appeal to the people, the workers of Pakistan, also to support this wonderful initiative. We need to unite. Our unity is our strength.
Well, before we come to Pakistan, and actually we'll talk about Pakistan, what do you think about the potential of Hugo Chavez? Do you think he has enough potential to realize all the dreams that he talks about?
Well, Hugo Chavez, if he's done nothing else, has put the question of socialism and socialist revolution back on the agenda, on the top of the agenda. And I would argue that certainly the crisis that we're living through, this very serious crisis, which is a worldwide crisis, which affects the people of Pakistan, which affects the people of Britain, of Greece, of Venezuela, of the United States, can only be solved by a fundamental change in society. I believe that's what people want. I believe even the vote for Obama in the United States was at least an attempt. The people were saying in so many words, look, we need a fundamental change. We're fed up with what's gone on before. I think the vote in the last elections in Pakistan was a vote for a change. Now the problem is that there hasn't been a change. And there must be a change. There must be a fundamental change in society and the ownership of the means of production as the only way out of this terrible mess and poverty and unemployment and price rises that we've seen everywhere. And certainly Chavez has put this forward. He's gone some way to carrying out this policy in Venezuela. He's achieved many things in the interest of the people. It's not yet finished, however. The Venezuelan revolution is not yet finished, and it must be finished, because at the end of the day, either the counter-revolutionary bourgeoisie, the landlords and capitalists and imperialists will triumph, or we will triumph. There is no middle way.
Okay, coming back to Pakistan.
Yes.
Aaron, you have seen the situation even today, what happened in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. People
Yes.
were out there protesting against fares. But my question to you is that the economy, we have about more than 50% of our budget going to the IMF and World Bank
Yes.
for the debt servicing.
Yeah.
And it's going to increase because our growth is still very, it's down, and because of this electricity crisis.
Yeah.
How do you see Pakistan in next 2 years? If we keep on borrowing around $12 billion a year as we did last year, how do you see Pakistan's economy 2 years from now?
Well, you see, it's the same problem, isn't it? It's exactly the same problem that we discussed earlier in relation to Greece, Britain, Spain, wherever you look. That this system, based upon the private ownership of the land, the banks, the big industries, is in crisis. And they want to pass the bill for this terrible crisis on the shoulders of the people who can least afford it. Now, I've only been in Pakistan for a week, but it's clear that the situation is quite serious. I mean, the electricity cuts of 10 hours, is it, or 16 hours in some cases? Am I
20
correct?
hours even.
20 hours?
Yeah, in the rural areas.
That is staggering. How can people live in darkness? Good heavens, we're in the 21st century. You can put a man on the moon. Don't tell me that there isn't the physical possibility of producing electricity in Pakistan. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. And the question has to be asked, who's responsible for these cuts?